Have you ever heard of a place where rules simply evaporate into the desert heat? Welcome to Slab City, the last free place in America. A desert outpost where freedom reigns, but survival is brutal. Behind the gleaming towers of wealth, far from the polished streets of suburban dreams, lies a sun-scorched wasteland. The air smells of burning trash. The ground cracks under relentless heat, and every night gunshots pierce the silence. No rules, no police, no safety. Is this the ultimate paradise of freedom, or a descent into anarchy? Stay with us as we pull back the curtain on a hidden world where liberty comes at a devastating cost. Number 1. Introduction to Slab City. Located in the remote Sonoran Desert of southeastern California, about 150 miles east of San Diego, Slab City sprawls across a forgotten patch of land that was once a military base during World War II. After the army pulled out, they left behind concrete slabs, and from those slabs, a community unlike any other was born. Today, Slab City is home to an estimated 300 year-round residents. During the cooler winter months, the population can swell to over 4,000, as seasonal travelers, often referred to as snowbirds, descend upon the slabs. Despite its quirky reputation, make no mistake, living here is not for the faint of heart. There are no municipal services, no running water, no electricity grid, and no garbage collection. In Slab City, self-reliance is not just admired, it is mandatory. But what draws people here? For some, it's the romantic dream of absolute freedom, a place without taxes, without landlords, without the watchful eye of law enforcement. For others, it's necessity. Many slabbers are those who have slipped through society's cracks, veterans battling PTSD, individuals fleeing economic hardship, or those simply tired of a system they feel has failed them. A recent survey from the Slab City Community Association in early 2025 revealed that approximately 65% of permanent residents cite economic hardship as their primary reason for settling here. Walking through Slab City feels like stepping into another dimension. Shanty structures built from recycled wood, rusted metal, and faded tarps cluster across the sand. The scent of sun-baked plastic and burnt wood hangs heavy in the air. Bright murals explode across crumbling walls. Sculptures made from discarded junk rise like surreal monuments against a sky that seems impossibly vast. One of the most famous landmarks here is Salvation Mountain, a massive, colorful art installation built by Leonard Knight as a tribute to love and faith. It stands as a beacon amid the barrenness, attracting curious travelers and photographers from around the world. However, Slab City is not governed by utopian ideals alone. Without official policing or infrastructure, survival depends heavily on community agreements and personal resilience. People barter for goods, share water tanks, and form tight-knit alliances, yet disputes can quickly escalate, and justice, when needed, is often handled in ways that feel more like the Wild West than modern America. As of early 2025, temperatures in Slab City have already soared past 120 degrees Fahrenheit during the hottest months, according to data from the National Weather Service. Heat waves, droughts, and dust storms are regular features of life here, challenging even the hardiest souls. Still, to many, Slab City represents something precious, a final sliver of raw, unfiltered freedom in a world increasingly bound by rules, regulations, and digital surveillance. Here you are judged not by your past, your bank account, or your social status, but by your ability to endure. Number 2. Lack of basic infrastructure. Imagine waking up every day without electricity, without running water, without even a place to throw your trash. Welcome to daily life in Slab City, a place where basic infrastructure simply does not exist. Out here, survival is not about luxury, it is about resourcefulness. In Slab City, there is no connection to the national power grid, no sparkling water pipes running underground, no organized system to deal with waste. Everything that most Americans take for granted vanishes the moment you step onto the cracked concrete slabs. According to a recent report, by the Desert Research Institute in 2025, nearly 100% of Slab City residents rely entirely on self-generated power. Solar panels patched together from salvaged parts and noisy gasoline generators are the lifelines that keep lights flickering after sunset. But energy here is precious and often painfully scarce. Water, the very essence of life, is just as elusive. Without municipal water lines, residents must either haul in water by truck, buy it at inflated prices from nearby vendors, or during the rare desert rains, collect every precious drop they can. The average cost of potable water in Slab City has now climbed to over 20 cents per gallon, a steep price for those already living on the margins. It is not just inconvenient, it is a daily battle against thirst. And then there is the question of waste. With no sewer systems or garbage collection, each resident must fend for themselves. Makeshift septic tanks composting toilets or simply holes dug into the unforgiving earth serve as the only options for human waste. Trash, meanwhile, piles up in improvised dumps, attracting swarms of flies and rodents. A health study published by the Imperial County Health Department in March 2025 found that the risk of bacterial infections such as E. coli and salmonella in Slab City is nearly 3 times higher than in nearby rural communities. In short, when there is no one to clean up the mess becomes your reality. The consequences are not just ugly, they are dangerous. Without proper sanitation, the risk of outbreaks looms large over this fragile community. In the summer of 2024, an outbreak of gastrointestinal illness affected over 40 residents, traced back to contaminated water sources and unsanitary conditions. In a place where the nearest hospital is almost an hour's drive away, even a simple stomach bug can spiral into a life-threatening emergency. Despite these challenges, slabbers, as they proudly call themselves, refuse to back down. Creativity blooms where infrastructure fails. Some build rainwater catchment systems out of salvaged tarps and gutters. Others design clever solar-powered showers using black-painted water tanks heated by the relentless sun. Resourcefulness here is not just a skill, it is a badge of honor. But make no mistake, behind every ingenious hack is the harsh reality of neglect. When the sun sets over Slab City, casting long shadows across the broken slabs and dusty trailers, it leaves behind a haunting question. Is the price of absolute freedom simply too high when even the most basic human needs go unmet? Hold on tight, because the deeper we venture into this no man's land, the more we uncover the raw truth behind a community that lives, and sometimes barely survives, without the structures the rest of us take for granted. Number 3, harsh living conditions. During peak summer months, temperatures here regularly soar past 120 degrees Fahrenheit. In fact, the latest data from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration in early 2025 recorded Slab City reaching a blistering 124 degrees Fahrenheit during a record heat wave. At those temperatures, the difference between life and death can come down to finding even a sliver of shade or a few sips of water. But shade is a luxury, and water, well, as mentioned earlier, water is pure gold out here. With no municipal supply lines, residents must either purchase water from vendors who charge as much as 25 cents per gallon, or desperately collect rainwater during rare desert storms. To put it into perspective, a family of 3 could easily spend over $300 per month just on basic drinking water, a staggering figure for a community where many live on incomes far below the federal poverty line. And it is not just the thirst that gnaws at you. The desert itself is an unforgiving enemy. Winds whip up dust storms that can strip paint off vehicles and leave your eyes stinging for hours. The ground, dry and cracked like shattered glass, offers no mercy. Even something as simple as walking from your trailer to a neighbor's shack can feel like crossing a battlefield. A health advisory released by Imperial County Public Health in February 2025 warned that prolonged exposure to Slab City's summer heat can lead to heat stroke in less than 15 minutes. A chilling reminder that out here, nature always has the upper hand. Yet, despite all this, the residents of Slab City endure. They adapt in ways both ingenious and desperate. Some bury water containers underground to keep them cool. Others build makeshift shelters from scavenged materials, lining them with layers of reflective insulation to ward off the merciless sun. Swamp coolers powered by fragile solar setups hum weakly during the day, offering little more than a warm breeze. But in a place like this, even a warm breeze can feel like a blessing. Of course, the fight for survival is not without casualties. Every summer, emergency services from neighboring towns report a spike in heat-related incidents among Slab City residents. According to the Imperial County Emergency Response Unit, between June and September 2024, at least 12 cases of severe heat stroke were documented among slabbers, with several resulting in fatalities due to the extreme delay in getting medical help. Living here means accepting a brutal truth. The desert does not care who you are. It will burn, batter, and break you if you let it. But for the fiercely independent souls who call Slab City home, every blister, every sunburn, every parched, gasping breath is a badge of honor. It is proof that they are still standing still free, even when the land itself seems determined to erase them. Number 4. Crime and security issues. Out here in the forgotten corners of the California desert, there are no flashing red lights, no sirens wailing through the night. In Slab City, there are no police patrols, no official laws, and no one to call when things go wrong. You are the law, and sometimes that is the scariest thing of all. Without any formal government oversight, Slab City operates in a strange gray zone where personal freedom reigns, but so does danger. According to a safety assessment by the Imperial County Sheriff's Office released in early 2025, incidents of theft, assault, and drug-related crimes within the Slab City area have risen by nearly 20% over the past 3 years. It is a sobering reminder that in a place without rules, those who wish to harm others often find free rein. Petty theft is rampant. Leave a bike unlocked, and chances are it will disappear before you turn your back. Leave your solar panels unattended, and you might wake up to find them stripped off and gone with the desert wind. As one longtime resident put it, in Slab City, you do not ask if you will get robbed, you just ask when, but theft is only the beginning. Slab City's underground economy runs thick with the trade of illegal substances. Methamphetamine, heroin, and other narcotics move through the makeshift camps like ghosts in the night. A report by the California Department of Health in February 2025 estimated that nearly 35% of permanent Slab City residents are either users or participants in the informal drug trade. With addiction comes desperation, and with desperation comes violence. And violence out here is deeply personal. Fights over water territory or old grudges often escalate into brutal confrontations. Without police intervention, disputes are settled the old-fashioned way, with fists, knives, or worse. Emergency services, if called at all, can take up to 45 minutes or longer to reach Slab City, depending on the time of day and available resources. In a place where every second counts, sometimes the difference between survival and tragedy is just who you trust or do not. To survive, residents have created their own patchwork systems of defense. Makeshift militias, armed watch groups, and neighborhood alliances rise and fall with the tides of trust and betrayal. Many people openly carry weapons for protection, handguns tucked into belts, shotguns resting behind makeshift doors. And when night falls, the landscape transforms. What looks like a colorful, chaotic camp by day becomes an uneasy battlefield after dark. Gunshots ring out in the distance, not often, but just enough to remind you. Out here, the only law is the one you can enforce yourself. Yet despite the dangers, a stubborn kind of resilience holds this community together. Neighbors watch out for each other, because out here, your survival might just depend on the guy. 2 tents down, trust is earned, not given. Respect is currency, and courage, raw, daily. Courage is the glue that keeps Slab City from tearing itself apart completely. As the moon rises over the cracked desert floor, casting long, ghostly shadows over broken trailers and rusted-out vehicles, one truth becomes crystal clear. Freedom without order is not just risky, it is lethal. Number 5. Mental health and social struggles. At first glance, Slab City might look like a rough patchwork of free spirits chasing a dream of off-grid living. But behind the bright murals and makeshift homes lies a far grittier reality, a community quietly battling invisible wars every single day. Many residents here are not just seeking freedom, they are running from something poverty, or a system that has failed them time and again. According to a health survey conducted by the Imperial Valley Coalition for the Homeless in March 2025, more than 45% of year-round Slab City residents suffer from untreated mental health issues, including depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder. A large portion are former military veterans, men and women who once wore uniforms and now wear the scars of memories they cannot escape. The Department of Veterans Affairs estimates that at least 20% of all homeless veterans nationwide experience PTSD. And in places like Slab City, where support is non-existent, the percentage may be even higher. But perhaps the most jarring reality is this: there is no hospital here. There are no clinics, no therapists, no hotline numbers posted on dusty walls offering help. If you are struggling mentally in Slab City, you are essentially on your own. The nearest emergency medical services are almost an hour's drive away, and without a phone signal in many areas, calling for help is often not even an option. In a land where survival depends so heavily on physical toughness, mental health often gets pushed to the back burner until it explodes. And it does explode. Isolation acts like gasoline on already fragile minds. When people are left without structure, without purpose, without connection, cracks start to show. Fights break out over seemingly minor misunderstandings. Long-standing grudges simmer until they boil over into violence. It is not unusual for residents to simply pack up and disappear into the desert after a breakdown, never to be seen again. A chilling statistic from the Imperial County Sheriff's Office shows that in the last year alone, there were at least 10 missing persons reports linked to Slab City, many believed to be mental health-related disappearances. The sense of isolation here is crushing. Imagine days stretching into weeks without meaningful human contact, or worse, surrounded by people equally broken, equally angry, equally lost. There are no community centers, no support groups, no social workers making rounds. What you have is a fragile ecosystem of people doing their best to survive the crushing weight of their own minds, without the tools or support they desperately need. Yet in the midst of all this darkness, there are flickers of resilience. Some residents form small, informal groups for companionship, coffee circles, music nights, art projects. Creativity becomes therapy. Shared hardship becomes a kind of unspoken bond. But make no mistake, these small lights, while powerful, are often not enough to counter the heavy darkness pressing in from all sides. Number 6. Poor housing and fragile shelters. When people think of home, they imagine comfort, safety, a roof that stands strong against the elements. In Slab City, the word home takes on a whole different meaning, one built on scraps, survival, and sheer determination. Most residents here live in makeshift shelters that would barely qualify as livable by any standard. Old RVs with cracked windshields and peeling paint are a common sight, their engines long dead, but their shells offering some small escape from the burning sun. Others live under sagging tarps inside tents patched together with duct tape or within cabins cobbled from recycled wood-metal sheets and whatever else the desert yields. A survey conducted by the Slab City Community Outreach Program in February 2025 found that nearly 70% of homes in Slab City are classified as non-permanent structures, meaning they would not survive a major storm or extended exposure to extreme heat. And that brings us to perhaps the cruelest part of life here, the relentless assault of the desert itself. Summer temperatures routinely climb above 120 degrees Fahrenheit, baking trailers and tents into literal ovens, plastic buckles, metal warps, wood cracks and splits. In winter, though far milder, nighttime temperatures can plunge below freezing. leaving people to shiver under threadbare blankets with little protection from the cold. But it is not just the weather. Slab City's housing offers little in the way of sanitation. Many residents live without plumbing, without toilets, and without a reliable way to store or cook food safely. Health reports from Imperial County Public Health in early 2025 revealed that unsanitary living conditions have led to a spike in respiratory illnesses and skin infections among residents, rates that are more than double those seen in nearby rural areas. And when disaster strikes, there is no safety net. No fire department to call if a trailer catches fire. A terrifyingly common occurrence, especially during windy months when a single spark can turn into a raging blaze in minutes. No emergency crews to secure damaged shelters after a dust storm rips through the camp. People rely on duct tape, plywood, and prayers, hoping their fragile walls will hold for just one more season. Still in the middle of this harshness, there is a kind of raw beauty. Each shelter, no matter how rough, tells a story of its builder. Some are painted in wild colors, others are adorned with salvaged signs, broken mirrors, or driftwood sculptures. A rebellion against the idea that poverty must always mean ugliness. Here, creativity is not a luxury, it is a survival mechanism. Life in Slab City demands a toughness most people cannot even imagine. It means sleeping through howling winds that shake your walls like a cheap drum. It means patching the same holes over and over again with whatever you can find. It means waking up to find that the shelter you painstakingly built is now a pile of splintered debris. And yet, despite everything, the people of Slab City rebuild. Again and again, with stubborn hands and unbreakable wills, they stitch together some version of home out of nothing but scraps and dreams. Because in Slab City, having a home, no matter how broken, battered, or temporary, is not about comfort. It is about survival. It is about staking a tiny claim of dignity in a world that has long since forgotten you. As we leave the sun-scorched plains of Slab City behind, one thing becomes painfully clear. Freedom without limits sounds like a beautiful dream, but out here, it often means living without safety, without security, and sometimes without hope. Slab City is a place where creativity blooms from nothing, where resilience is stitched together from broken scraps of dreams. Yet it is also a place where danger lurks just beyond every dusty corner, where survival is a daily battle, and where being free often feels a lot like being forgotten. We have seen the homes built from salvaged wood and rusted metal. We have heard the haunting silence that falls over the desert at night, broken only by the occasional distant gunshot. We have met people who chose this life and others who were pushed here by circumstances beyond their control, and through their stories, Slab City forces us to confront an uncomfortable truth. True freedom does not come without a price. Is this patch of desert a last stand for personal liberty, or a chilling glimpse into what society looks like when it collapses under its own weight? Is it a utopia for those who reject rules, or a desperate shelter for those with nowhere else to go? The answer perhaps depends on who you ask, and maybe that is what makes Slab City so fascinating and so heartbreaking. If this journey moved, you challenged your perspective, or sparked new questions in your mind, we would love to hear your thoughts. Leave us a comment below, and let us know, what does freedom mean to you? If you found value in today's story, consider giving this video a like. And if you would like to explore more hidden corners of the world with us, make sure to subscribe to NVL Travel Documentary. Every journey brings new lessons, and the world is full of stories waiting to be told. Thank you for traveling with us. And remember, sometimes the most important discoveries happen far off the beaten path.